guys, welcome to the very first episode of this podcast. Before anything else, I just want to say thank you to everyone who listened to the podcast on Spotify and followed, to everyone who watched the trailer video on YouTube and subscribe, and of course to everyone who left, their uplifting and loving messages on Facebook and on YouTube. Your words really meant so much to me, and I am just very grateful that I get to do this passion project surrounded by people like all of you. So thank you, thank you so much. So this podcast episode is going to be a background story of how the podcast came to be. Basically, what are the things that I realized, and new motivations and the purpose of that pushed me in doing this passion project, and what are the things that I realized when I first uploaded the trailer episode on Spotify and on YouTube, which was very exciting for me, especially when I first shared it to my family with a very high-pitched voice. So that's that. I was so excited. So okay, just a flashback story. For the past few months in 2020, I came across this podcast episode by a TV personality. She's also a radio host and also a motivational speaker. And her name is Joyce Spring, and I just loved her. I don't particularly remember what the episode was about, but for the first few minutes of listening to the podcast, I was just immediately hooked. I was so interested in listening to more of her episodes, and so I did. I just love how she talks so clearly, and she was talking with a tone that I can understand what you're going through. She was so genuine with how she shared her points, how she conveyed her insights about certain situations that is being discussed, and her tips and tricks of handling those situations was very clear and was very very insightful as well. She's actually one of the reasons that helped me be more interested in discovering more podcast hosts in Spotify. And I just love how podcasting gives you a new sense of perspective to look at certain situations in our day-to-day lives, and whether that be handling yung human connections, or you're creating a mindset, or yung mga motivations natin to do things that we want to do in life. I have realizations na, pwede ko palang tingnan itong situation na to in that way, or pwede ko palang i-handle ang experience na to in this way. And I think, and I love that, because that light bulb moments actually tells me that I'm learning something from the things that I listen to, diba? And yung mga genre of podcasts that I usually listen to on Spotify is basically a focus on yung mga self-help, lifestyle, self-development, which I think is really helpful, especially at this time of my life where I realize na there are things na I should be doing na, and things that I should be focusing more on na, to be able to live a more intentional and a more purposeful life. And that's something that I really strive to discover, to be able to have a concrete and a sure definition of what my purpose is, or what my reason for being is. Because at this point of my life, hindi pa ako quite sure. Hindi pa ako ganun hindi ko pa ganun naiintindihan everything that I'm doing. And to be able to achieve that, to be able to discover that purpose can, help me in the future and help me realize that, yeah, I'm happy and I have lived a well-lived life, diba? And on the story of how the podcast came to be, there was an episode by Joyce Spring and with Miss Micah Gonzalez, where they talk about, passion projects and mental health, which was basically vital in a person's well-being, and is one of the key things that we should focus on to be able to live a life where we are happy, and to be able to live a more meaningful life. And being in my early 20s, I am slowly realizing how important it is to take care of ourselves, not just physically, but also emotionally and mentally, and being in a place where we are happy, we are comfortable, and we are secured and safe can actually help us build a good mindset to live our lives with. Because to be honest, the life of an adult can be at first very empowering, and that's true. No, we have the capability to start and make our own choices and make our own decisions that we think is right. No, this is the time where we decide, what we need to do to be where we want to be in the future. And as exciting and as life-changing that may sound, the life of an adult is not as simple as that, diba? Adulting entails a lot of tricky and complicated things that we inevitably will face, especially with the world that we are in now. There will be a lot of expectations from us, from how we present ourselves to society, from how we face certain situations that we have never dealt with before, how we communicate, how we express our thoughts and our ideas, which is very popular, especially now that we have social media. We have freedom of expression and stuffs like that. And at some point in our lives, we will feel overwhelmed and exhausted, and at some point very stressed about all of these things that's happening. And that's why it's important that we take a step back and breathe, and in a way find things to refuel ourselves, to take on the life that awaits us, or to take on the life that we are living. That's why it's also important na we have time for ourselves, time to do things that makes us happy and gives us a sense of fulfillment. Finding something that we love doing and finding things that we can be passionate about actually can be a breather for us in the routines of our daily life. Because to be honest, a lot of young adults have a stressful works, diba? Na we have to wake up at an early time in the morning and be at work and deliver at 8 to 5 p.m. And usually when we get home, we're just so tired from all the things that's been going on. And passions can not only be a breather, but can also help us in a long term, basically for us to help us in the journey of our self-growth and pursuing our personal goals. And it's different from things that we do in our idle time for the purpose of just pastime. For example, watching TV series, scrolling through social media, which let's be honest, is really enjoying at some times, because I myself is a Netflix sucker as well. I love watching TV series, and that's true. But passions, is different. Passions gives you a deeper sense of satisfaction, and also helps you discover more about yourself and the things that you truly value in life. And I also love how Miss Joy Spring and Miss Micah Gonzalez highlighted in that podcast, the power of creativity to be a way to express our passions. Because when we're being creative, we're being ourselves. That's the time where we focus on our thoughts, our ideas, our imagination, and it can actually help us to to make our passion happen, to make that passion and use that passion and take it into action. We can think of ways to express that passion, and we find platforms that actually resonates with that passion. And another thing that I really loved and that really helped me in finding a passion project that was so special for me was the idea that Miss Micah Gonzalez highlighted in that podcast episode, was that a passion project can be something that challenges you, something that you want to work on. And while I was thinking about it, the only thing that actually popped into my head was, speaking and communicating. And growing up, thinking about it, I was so afraid of presenting and expressing myself, especially in front of a lot of people. I hated oral recitations. I hated reportings. And I know a lot of people can relate to me when I say now, I literally experience shaking before a presentation, or experience that I have that unconscious feeling of throwing up before talking. And I hated feeling that. Even in college, We have a lot of reports, presentations, and of course you have to do your outline in your thesis defense. And I think I'm not as comfortable and as confident as other people when it comes to speaking. And aside from that, and aside from the fact that I'm afraid of, what other people might say about me when I say something wrong, especially na yung mga presentations, mga reports is usually done in English, and that's something that is still new to us and needs to be practiced over time, diba? Is I think one of the things as well that allows me to see, presenting and speaking in front of a crowd very nerve-wracking is the idea that I could experience a mental block and forget about all the things that I've practiced, or I could have said something better, or I could have expressed myself better during that presentation. It's just basically the fear of criticism, the fear of being judged, and the fear of failing. Basta I really I really hated, talking in front of people. And to think about it, I am a natural talker. I love talking. I love impromptu conversations with people I know. I love chicas. I love kwentuhan. So with my newfound interest in podcasts, and thinking about something that can challenge me and at the same time I find enjoyable, I was thinking, okay, why not start a podcast? Maybe I can do it. And it's not just something that I find enjoyable, and it's not just something that I want to do. It's something that can really help me improve myself in that skill set, and can actually be a platform for me to understand and to reflect more on the things that I recently learned, from listening to podcasts, from reading, and from listening to audiobooks, and of course to be able to share my stories to other people that is experiencing the same things that I am experiencing is actually a great motivation to do this project. So I figured, okay, I'm going to do this project. And the next question that I was asking myself is, when am I going to do it? So basically, I have just been, procrastinating about it, and I have all these ideas in my head and all these topics that I can talk about, but I didn't really put it into action yet. I made myself so preoccupied on different things that I just didn't have the time to, start it. But if you think about it, one of the key things that we have to remember, especially when we're starting something new, something that is different from what we usually do, is, to take it slow. Just take it slow. Take it one step at a time, especially when you feel overwhelmed of all the things that you need to do to just officially start this project that you want to do. Little steps, and I think that goes a long way. And when you put just a little bit of motivation, just a little bit of effort to a project or to something that you want to do, the energy will come. Once you start doing it, it's just gonna flow. You're just gonna enjoy doing it. You're just gonna look forward doing it again. So basically, just go for it. Just do it. Do things that you want to try for a very long time, and move past that bubble. Move past your comfort zone and explore things that you want to do, or explore things that you can be passionate about and be good at. We're multifaceted human beings, and we are much more capable of things than we know. And the only thing that allows us to do all those things is that step of trying. So you need to try to be able to know. You'll never know if you never try, diba? Am I right? So yeah, I created the podcast. I've started palang researching about how to set up the podcast, what tools do I need, and then the next thing that I was figuring out was the title. So I wanted the content that I can really talk about like genuinely and freely, and to be able to talk about something that I'm experiencing. So basically, that's adulting. I'm a young adult now. I'm just new to this growing up thing, and that's something that I really want to talk about to people, and to people that are experiencing the same things as I am. So And I decided to call it Tricky Little Things because, of course, we are going to face, a lot of tricky and complicated stuffs as we go on with life and as we start this adulting thing. And yeah, after that, I just decided one day to start designing a mock-up cover for the podcast. And then on that same day, at night, after doing the cover, I was just so excited and just started filming the trailer, and that was just in one day. So it will flow, the energy and the motivation will eventually flow if you really have your eyes towards a certain goal and to do something that you really want to do. So one of the things that I also realized when I first uploaded the trailer was how uplifting and how supportive everyone that I know, how supportive they were with me, sharing this passion project. And one thing that I realized is, you don't know that there are actually people out there that are, secretly or is actually, rooting for you to succeed in your endeavors or to things that you want to pursue. And I saw that with this project. I was so happy when I received yung mga messages that, we're so proud of you for doing this project. Good luck, keep it up, mga ganyan. And it's just so heartwarming and so flattering that, we should strive to, build that environment where people are so supportive and accepting of people's, goals and ventures and things that they want to venture on in life. To be able to have to build an environment or a society where there's less negativity and less toxicity than there already is. So yeah, I'm just very thankful for this opportunity to be able to to express myself and to share a lot of new things about myself, and to share mga realizations and my experiences in my life. So yeah, just to end this podcast, I just would like to share a wisdom that my papa told me, because oftentimes one of the things that keeps us from doing the things that we want to do in life and we want to pursue is that fear of criticisms and fear of judgment. And basically the thought of what he said was, whether we do something or we don't do anything at all, people will always have something to say, and that's something now we can't change. And the only thing that we can change is how we react to it and how we choose to handle, that situation. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. I hope you learned a thing or two with me blabbering about this project, and I'm just very grateful for everyone. So thank you so much, and I hope you stay tuned for the next episode. Bye. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video. This podcast is also available on Anchor, Pocket Cast, and on Spotify. Stay tuned for more episodes of Tricky Little Things, the podcast. Kwentuhan tayo soon. Bye.